Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's story. Have you ever found yourself standing at a crossroads, torn between love and sacrifice, between the past and the future? What happens when you realize the one person you care about might not be able to walk with you anymore? In today's tale, Alex's search for Tuna leads him to a heartbreaking discovery that could change both of their lives forever. Will Tuna choose to stay with him, or will she let go of everything they've built? And how will Alex handle the truth about her illness? Stay with us till the end to uncover their emotional journey. And if you want more stories like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join us in reaching The sky above was a dull gray expanse, heavy with clouds that seemed to press down on the earth. The air was thick, as if holding its breath. Alex's steps were slow but deliberate, each footfall echoing in the silence of the fading evening. He had been walking for hours, asking anyone he met along the way if they had seen Tuna or her child. But the answers were all the same. Nothing. We've searched every house in this area. There's no sign of her, Alex said, his voice flat, betraying his inner frustration. Johnny, walking alongside him, ran a hand through his hair in defeat. Maybe we should rest and try again tomorrow. It's getting dark, Johnny suggested, his tone weary but practical. But Alex shook his head, determined. No, we can't stop now. I have to find her. He pulled out his phone and called again, his heart racing as he waited for an answer. Johnny, any news? No, came the response, a quiet sadness in Johnny's voice. We've checked everywhere. Alex's shoulders slumped, the weight of hopelessness settling over him. He looked up at the sky, the darkening clouds mirroring the heaviness in his heart. We'll try again tomorrow, he said softly, more to himself than anyone else. He knew deep down that waiting wasn't an option, but the search had become a relentless cycle of disappointment. The night had fully descended, and a cold chill settled over the countryside as Alex approached the small, dimly lit house. His pulse quickened. Every step brought him closer to the moment he had both longed for and dreaded. The search was over. He had found her. There, standing at the threshold of the doorway, was Tuna. Her figure was small and fragile, as if the weight of the world had settled on her shoulders. The light from within the house cast soft shadows on her face, but it couldn't mask the exhaustion in her eyes. Alex's heart leapt, but his voice was steady when he called her name. Tuna. She didn't move, her gaze fixed on the ground as though afraid to meet his eyes. He took a step forward, his breath catching in his chest. But Tuna remained unmoving. The silence stretched between them like an endless road, neither of them daring to break it. Finally, she looked up, her eyes red and tired. I didn't think you'd find me, she whispered, her voice breaking. I've been looking everywhere, Alex replied softly, stepping closer. Where are you? Where's your child? Tuna took a deep breath, her hands trembling as she clasped them in front of her. I can't go back, Alex. I'm sick. I don't know what to do anymore. Her words hit Alex like a cold wave, his breath catching in his throat. For a moment, all he could do was stare at her, the reality of her situation slowly sinking in. What do you mean, sick? He asked, his voice barely a whisper. I have an illness, Alex. Something serious. I can't keep living like this. Tuna's eyes filled with tears, and she quickly wiped them away, refusing to let him see her weakness. Alex took a step forward, reaching out to her, but she stepped back, shaking her head. I can't. I just can't. Alex stood frozen for a moment, the weight of Tuna's words heavy in the air between them. Her confession was like a sudden storm, sweeping away all the hope he had clung to. He had thought that finding her would bring relief, but now, standing in front of her, he realized that the road ahead was far more complicated than he ever imagined. Tuna. Alex's voice faltered, his heart in his throat. You don't have to do this alone. We can get through this together. You don't have to hide. Tuna shook her head slowly, her eyes avoiding his. I don't want to burden you, Alex. You've already done so much for me, for us. But this is something I have to face on my own. The words stung, and Alex felt his chest tighten. He had always been there for her, always ready to support her. The thought that she felt she had to carry this burden alone tore at him. I don't care about the burden, Tuna, he said, his voice soft but firm. I care about you and your child. I want to help you. Let me help you. But Tuna's expression softened, filled with both love and sorrow. She reached out slowly, placing her hand on his, though her grip was light, as if afraid to hold on too tightly. I'm so sorry, Alex. I wish things were different, she whispered. But I can't go back to the farm. I need to figure this out. I need time. Alex looked into her eyes, searching for any sign of doubt, but found none. She was resolute, her decision already made, and yet there was a flicker of sadness in her gaze. Sadness for what could have been. All right, Alex said quietly, his voice barely a whisper. I'll give you the time you need. But don't shut me out, Tuna. I'm not going anywhere, and neither is my love for you. Tuna nodded, tears welling in her eyes. I know. I need to find peace, and I need to know what's best for my child. The silence hung between them, thick with unspoken emotions. Alex let out a slow breath, trying to steady himself, and gave her one last lingering look before stepping back. The night seemed to stretch endlessly as Tuna stood alone in the dim light of the small room, the weight of her decision pressing on her heart. Alex's words echoed in her mind, but she couldn't silence the inner turmoil. She looked out the window at the dark sky, the stars hidden behind thick clouds. It was as if the universe itself was shrouded in uncertainty, mirroring her own restless thoughts. Her fingers trembled as she reached for the small pendant around her neck. A gift from her mother. The cool metal felt like a lifeline, grounding her in a world that seemed to be slipping away. She had spent so much of her life looking for answers, running from the pain of her past. But now, facing this illness, the uncertainty of her future, she realized that the answers she sought weren't out there. They were inside her, in the decisions she had to make, in the peace she needed to find. Her gaze shifted to the small crib in the corner of the room, where her child slept soundly, unaware of the gravity of the situation. A pang of guilt twisted in her chest. Was it fair to drag her child into this uncertainty? Was it right to let Alex care for them, knowing the struggles she faced? Her mind was torn between two paths, the love she had for Alex and the life they could have built together, and the responsibility she now felt to protect her child, to give them a future not overshadowed by her illness. The quiet of the night was broken only by the soft rustling of the leaves outside, the only comfort in her isolation. She leaned against the wall, closing her eyes as tears silently slid down her cheeks. "What am I supposed to do?" she whispered to herself, the weight of her decisions pressing down on her heart. She knew what she had to do, but the fear of losing Alex, of choosing a life without him, was a burden she wasn't sure she could carry. The following morning, Alex stood at the edge of the field, his eyes gazing out at the horizon. But his mind was elsewhere. The search had ended, but his heart felt as if it had only just begun a new journey. One that wasn't about finding Tuna, but understanding the depth of her pain, her need for space, and her silent plea for help that he couldn't ignore. The day had begun in a haze of exhaustion, and yet Alex felt a strange clarity about his decision to give Tuna the time she needed. It wasn't about rushing her or convincing her to come back to the farm. It was about understanding her on a level he hadn't before. He had spent so much of his life thinking that love meant holding on tightly, but now he understood that sometimes love meant letting go. He paced slowly back and forth, his hands shoved deep into his pockets as he replayed the conversation in his mind. Tuna's words, her tears, the way she had tried to push him away. It all made sense now. She wasn't rejecting him. She was protecting herself, protecting her child. "I will give you time, Tuna," Alex whispered to the wind, "but I'll always be here, no matter what you choose." His heart ached as the reality of her illness settled deeper into his chest. He couldn't imagine losing her, yet he knew he couldn't ask her to stay if it meant sacrificing her peace of mind. But the thought of her going through this alone, without him, tore at him. He let out a deep breath, trying to calm the storm brewing inside him. There was no easy way forward, only the slow, painful process of waiting. Waiting for Tuna to heal, to find clarity, and perhaps to come back to him. But for now, he would wait. Not out of hope, but out of love. The next few days passed in a blur of quiet reflection. Tuna spent her time alone, drifting between moments of clarity and periods of doubt. She knew Alex was waiting for her answer, but the weight of her illness and the future of her child pressed heavily on her heart. Every decision she made felt like it carried the potential to change everything, not just for her, but for the child she loved. One evening, as the soft light of the setting sun bathed the room in a warm, golden glow, Tuna sat by the window, her hand resting on her stomach. Her child, still unaware of the complexities of the world, slept soundly. She watched the wind dance through the trees outside, feeling the cool breeze on her skin. And for a moment, she allowed herself to imagine a future, one where she and her child could live in peace, without the weight of illness or the burden of unspoken truths. Her thoughts drifted back to Alex. She had been thinking about him constantly, and the love they had shared. He had always been there for her, even when she didn't deserve it. He had given her a chance when no one else had, and now he was asking her to return to the farm. But could she do that? Could she really go back to a life that no longer seemed possible, knowing that the illness she carried might prevent her from ever being the partner Alex deserved? Tuna closed her eyes, the tears finally slipping free. "I don't know what to do," she whispered to the silent room. "I love him, but I'm not sure I can give him the life he wants. Not anymore." The decision loomed large before her, and though she felt the weight of the world on her shoulders, one thing was clear. She had to choose not just for herself, but for the future of her child. Her hand trembled as she picked up her phone, and with a deep breath, she dialed Alex's number. The phone rang twice before Alex answered, his voice tired but warm. "Alex?" Tuna's voice trembled slightly, the uncertainty clear in her words. "It's me. I've made my decision." Alex's heart raced as he stood still, waiting for her to continue. The silence between them felt like an eternity. "I've been thinking a lot, Tuna. I know you need time, and I don't want to pressure you. But I need to know what's in your heart." Tuna's breath caught in her throat, the weight of her words so heavy she almost couldn't say them. "I can't go back to the farm, Alex. I can't live that life anymore. My illness, I can't ask you to live with that, to be a part of it." Alex's chest tightened, his hands cold with the realization that her decision was final. "Tuna, I want to be there for you. We can find a way. We can make it work together." But Tuna shook her head, even though he couldn't see her. "I can't ask you to carry this with me, Alex. I need to do this on my own, for my child, for myself." She paused, the words aching with truth. "I love you, but I have to let go." A silence fell between them, thick with all the things they couldn't say. Alex swallowed hard, his mind racing, but his heart told him the same thing. No matter how much he loved her, he had to respect her choice. "I understand," Alex whispered, his voice barely audible. "I'll always love you, Tuna, and I'll always be here if you need me." Tuna closed her eyes as the tears fell. She had made the hardest decision of her life, but it was the only one she could live with. "Goodbye, Alex," she whispered, her voice breaking. The line went silent, and Alex stood there, staring at his phone, feeling a loss that he didn't know how to name. He had hoped for something different, but he knew that love sometimes meant letting go. And so, he did.
Câu chuyện xoay quanh Alex và Tử Na, hai người yêu nhau nhưng đang đối mặt với những thử thách lớn. Sau khi Tử Na biến mất khỏi trang trại, Alex bắt đầu hành trình tìm kiếm cô, hy vọng đưa cô trở lại. Tuy nhiên, trong khi thấy Tử Na, Alex phát hiện ra cô mắc một căn bệnh hiểm nghèo và không thể tiếp tục cuộc sống bên anh. Tử Na quyết định rời xa Alex để bảo vệ bản thân và đứa con của mình. Dù rất yêu cô, Alex tôn trọng quyết định của Tử Na và sẵn sàng chờ đợi. Câu chuyện về hành trình của tình yêu và sự hy sinh và lựa chọn tình cảm và trách nhiệm, đồng thời khám phá những góc khuất trong cuộc sống.